What if I told you if there was a way that you could end up with an extra $200 to $300 at the end of the month, each month, without having to make significant lifestyle changes, and it takes minimal effort? In this video, I'm going to share with you some tips that can help you save, and also at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that I do personally on a daily basis to save money. Alright, before we jump into the video, let's talk about what saving is and why is saving so important. Well, saving essentially is the difference between your income and your savings. So whatever you make and whatever you spend, the difference between the two is savings. Now, why is saving so important? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one is you can take the money that you saved and you can invest it in somewhere like the stock market or a business, and you'll be able to build your wealth much faster. Number two is saving for emergencies. I read recently somewhere that the average American only has about $5,000 in their bank account at one point. Imagine if you had a medical bill that came up or some emergency bill that you had to pay. Wouldn't that be stressful? Regardless of how much money you make, it's important to develop the habit of saving early on. That way, when you start to make a lot more money, you already have developed a great habit, saving a portion of your income every month, and it goes straight into your savings account. You don't want to fall into the trap of lifestyle creep, where as you start to make more money and you spend more, right? Because at the end of the day, it's really about how much you keep. It's not about how much you make. I know a lot of friends that make good money, but then they also spend more. So they're still living to paycheck to paycheck. I don't want that to be you. So that's why it's so important to start developing this habit early on. Now, before we jump into the 5 things I do daily to save me money that you can implement today, I want to give you 2 tips on savings. Number 1 is to set a goal. This is important because you need to know what number you need to hit at the end of the month in order to reach your yearly goal. So let's say you want to save for a new laptop and it costs $1,200. You divide that by 12 months, and that means you have to save $100 a month in order to hit that $1,200 a year. Number 2 is to create a budget. Now, a budget is essentially a system that allows you to track your income and your expenses. So how much money you're making and how much you're spending, right? The difference between the two is what savings is. Nowadays, there's so many apps out there that you can link your bank account to where they automatically pull data from your bank account so that you don't have to enter into a spreadsheet. I'll put the links to those apps in the description below so you can check them out. Alright, let's get into the 5 things I do on a daily basis in order to save me money. Number 1 is to buy used. I never buy brand new, never buy MSRP, because sometimes you can just find these used items in good of a condition as they're brand new. And when you buy used, there are no taxes involved. So some of these items, if you're looking for furniture, it can get pretty expensive on the taxes. So buying used is always good, and you can find great discounts on Facebook Marketplace or things like Craigslist. And number 2 is stop going to coffee shops, right? Even though it's a small purchase every time, it adds up, right? You can make coffee at home for just as cheap and just as good. And you get to control what you put in your coffee. Furthermore, you don't have to waste time lining up at the coffee shop where you can spend that time sleeping more. 3 is to get in the habit of turning lights off at home where you're not using them. I know this is small, but it takes you 5 seconds to shut the light off, and over time it adds up. Number 4 is to double check your receipts. You'd be surprised how many times I find errors on my receipt at a grocery store where they didn't give me this promotion or double scan this item. So it takes you 5 seconds to double check the receipt, and that could add up as well. Alright, the last tip I have for you is to cancel any subscriptions that you don't use at least 3 times a week. I know people that have subscriptions to Crave, Netflix, Disney Plus, all of the services, all of the streaming services, and I don't understand why. You can only watch 1 movie at a time. It's not like you're watching 2 movies at the same time. So I would say you want to eliminate those that you don't use at least 3 times a week. I think that's a good rule of thumb. That way you'd be surprised how much money you can save over the years. Alright, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Comment below your favorite ways of saving money and how has it served you. Peace.